Hey everyone, got another team check-in here for you. The next team I thought we could go through here is the Seoul Crushers. I was kind of thinking the other day, I don't really know a lot about what's going on in Seoul. They've been, not a very good team over the past few years. Been very busy adding a lot of pieces recently. So I know Patsy's been watching my videos recently, so I figured we'd go over his team next and kind of dive in and see what's going on. As you can see over here in the standings in the far east, the Crushers do hold a 2.5 game lead over Beijing for the number one spot in the division. They currently are the only team above 500 right now, with Beijing, Sydney, and Tokyo just underneath that mark so far. But right now it is looking like Seoul's division to lose as we near the last month and a half here of the season. So let's go over to the team info tab. Um, you know, as it was kind of highlighted at the beginning of the year, none of the Far East teams were playing very well, and that can be said for Seoul as well. They were under 500 in April and May. They did turn things around in June and also played decently well in July. They, not off to a good start in August, but for the most part this summer they have been playing much better baseball and have kind of gotten themselves back into the playoff conversation. Looking at their batting stats here and rankings, pretty average across the board. They do get on base. They hit for a high average. They do collect a lot of hits. They're not really going to strike out, so they're definitely more of a high contact team. They'll put the ball in play for sure. But otherwise, not a ton of power. They're eighth in extra base hits, eighth in home runs, kind of opposite of what we just looked at with Cincinnati. They're not very good on the bases, which is interesting for a team that does hit for contact. That's something I'm sure they would like to see, better there than ninth in stolen bases and 11th in base running. But otherwise, on the pitching side is definitely more the strength of this team as well as defense. They're second in the FIB in earned run average, which was a 3.18 mark, and pretty balanced between their starters and their rotation. Their defense has been very good. Their defense efficiency is up over 100. They have the number one zone rating in the FIB. They're not going to allow too many home runs. They're very good at limiting walks. So overall, the strength of this team has definitely come from their pitching and their defense. And I think that's probably, why maybe their offense hasn't been as good, because, maybe Patsy's been looking to compensate some offense for some defense. And then looking at their lineup here, kind of some things that I noticed when I was going through, before I started recording this, is a few of their top guys that I would expect to be hitting better, haven't really done anything spectacular. The two guys that I'm looking at are Cedric Chopin and Arturo Gomez. Those are definitely the top two talents in this lineup. Guys you expect to have good years and probably all-star level players, but so far have not really hit to what their potential is. Looking at Chopin here, he was the big name international free agent signing back in the winter. Signed a 10-year, $187 million. Obviously, there's a lot of that coming on the back end there, but still a big deal to give to any free agent. And, I think when he kind of came out, one of the things people looked at is his ability to play a multitude of defensive positions. And, so far he could play any outfield position, and he can also play in the infield, where I doesn't like he's probably played very much there, but has the potential to play any infield position as well. And if you remember, his contact rating originally was, I think, 13 out of 16. Yeah, so 13 out of 16 is what he started at. And that we've actually seen his contact rating fully grow up to 16. So, you look at his stats across the board here. He's right-handed hitter who can play anywhere in the outfield. Has pretty solid offensive ratings across the board. He's durable. So there really is a lot to like with Chopin here. But, on the season, he's only hitting an OPS of 674. He's played most of the year, but hasn't really done a whole lot with that. He's on pace for less than 1.5 WAR. So I don't know if it's just, a rookie slump here with him, but you definitely would expect a lot more for a guy of his abilities. The other guy that I was talking about, Arturo Gomez, former number 1 overall pick. He's still only 23 years old, but you look at his skill set here. He's got 17 contact, 14 power. He's a left-handed hitter, so he's very good against right-handed pitching. Won't kill you against left-handed pitching, but he's not terrible either. He's been fine out in the field, in right field, even with a 5 range. But otherwise, he's the same deal. He's only on pace for just over 1.5 WAR, OPS of 730, so nothing special there. You look at his ratings, you think this is a guy that would be hitting pretty well, but obviously it hasn't been the case. He was much better last season. We kind of thought that might have been a breakout for him, but kind of third-year slumps so far for Arturo Gomez. The rest of this lineup, the main guy so far has actually been one of my former guys in Davis Sweeney. Yeah, I logged on one day down the file and I saw Davis Sweeney was leading the league in average at one point, and I had no idea he was even playing for Seoul. But they got him in the offseason and trade with Sydney. He's kind of had a pretty interesting career arc so far. I mean, he might just hit 3,000 hits, and I think if you would have told me when I got rid of him and he went to Toronto, I would have never thought that would have happened. But he just keeps getting opportunity after opportunity. He's got a near 300 career batting average. He's got to hit 40 WAR. So definitely an interesting career for Davis Sweeney. He's been great for them this year so far. Spencer Lavington, he's got 22 home runs so far. Having a bit of a resurgence, although he wasn't horrible for them last year. But his OPS is kind of more near the marks that he had earlier in his career with the Voodoo when he was an elite offensive talent. But between him and Sweeney, those definitely look to be the top guys on offense for them so far. So, not a lot of firepower there on offense. They just recently lost their catcher in Wesley Risley. He's done for the year, so they're going to have to go out and find a guy if they don't have anyone in-house I think is capable of replacing him. I know he hasn't been great this year, but still, catchers can be hard to find. So the main talent on this team, as we talked about earlier, has been the pitching staff. The rotation has been very good. Their top guy, Felipe Ybarra here, he's on pace for over 3 WAR, an ERA of 2.94. So he's been pretty good. Former 16th round pick, so he's kind of come out of nowhere here. He had a good season last year as well, so he's only built on that so far here in 2075. The rest of the rotation, I am shocked to see that they've gotten a full season out of Gao Dong Chao. He came over from Bogota just before the season started, right after spring training. And, I looked at him a lot in the offseason. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's still got good talent. But that injury history it's been rough. He's had, major injury after major injury. I thought no chance is this guy holding up. I'm not going to go trade for a guy getting paid $30 million to make 5, 6, 7 starts before he misses the rest of the year. But so far, he's hanging in there. He's got a 3.03 WAR, on pace for almost 200 innings. So I think Seoul's probably got to be happy with what they've gotten from him, the fact that he's been able to stay on the field. Otherwise, the rest of the rotation, they got another pretty good pitcher here in Antonio Gonzalez. He's been around for a while. He stuck around throughout their whole rebuild here. I know at the beginning of it, Patsy had marketed him, but I don't think it was ever able to really get the type of offer he was looking to move his young ace. So Gonzalez has stayed with the Crushers, and he's had a decent career. Nothing spectacular, but he's definitely been an above-average pitcher, and so far has been good this year too. He's probably benefiting from a good defense. But even the rest of the rotation here, as you can see, their 4th starter with 2.74 ERA and their 5th with a 3.02 has been good. When you got starting pitchers putting up those kind of numbers, usually means good things. We can take a look at their bullpen here and see if they have any big arms. We got Peter LeBlanc, who is, rating wise, nothing special, but otherwise, his numbers on the year are pretty decent. Sunderman, another solid solid guy starter wise. Not crazy good stuff, but limited appearances. He's been decent for Seoul. So it doesn't look like they have any elite talent in this bullpen. Just scrolling through here. So, the majority of their high leverage innings, they're still going to want their starting rotation throwing. Bullpen doesn't really have that top end guy that they're looking for, but I think a lot of bullpens in the Guba are looking like that right now. But so when I look at Seoul, I see an offense that has definitely been playing under potential for sure. They can get better as a unit as a whole. Their rotation's been doing good things, maybe slightly overperforming, but still definitely a good unit. You look at those top three guys, certainly going to be come in handy come playoffs. In a playoff series, you got three high caliber arms throwing in 6 of the potential 7 games. Bullpen, obviously, an area that could use upgrading, but again, there isn't too much on the market, and everyone's looking for relievers, so may not be able to find anything there. But without looking at too much into Beijing, Sydney, or Tokyo, Seoul definitely looks like they can hang on to this lead, especially if it's only going to take 500 baseball to win this division. We'll see how they fare if they can make the postseason, but you never know how OTP handles things in the playoffs. Always different animal. But otherwise, there's a look at Seoul. We'll see maybe if I can pump out a few more team videos, but otherwise, thanks for watching, guys.